Hi, this is Rainbow Harmony, here to help you find balance and peace to live a more colorful life. And this is a personal reading for someone who hit me up for my 22/22 special, because right now I'm doing readings where I make you a custom spread for only $22.22. So this is really exciting. I've had a lot of you guys hitting me up lately. I've been having a really good time using my gifts and expressing this side of myself and helping uplift you guys, and in return it's helped support me in my cause of trying to support ethical fashion. With the money I've been making off this channel, I've been able to produce more ethical fashion shoots to try to spread light on that area. So scroll back through my videos and you can check out some more information on that and see behind the scenes at some of my shoots and actually see the final result of some of these shoots that you guys have funded. So I'm pretty excited for this, and I just wanted to say thank you for purchasing this reading, and I'm hoping that I can help you find your balance and your peace today. So let's see what comes through. I do have to say that when I tapped into your energy, I did feel a lot of turmoil. But I also feel like you're just a very strong person, and you're the kind of person that, you stay very grounded. You're a very gentle heart. I feel like your animal totem is a deer. And it's easy for me to recognize because a lot of my friends are deer totems and my partner is a deer totem. So it's a very familiar energy to me. And what I know about you guys who are deer totems is that you guys are just very open-hearted, very sensitive, and you can be very hard on yourselves too. And life can just seem very overwhelming when you're a deer because it can be hard to understand the kind of harsher aspects of life and to deal with contrast. So I just want you to know that, I understand how you feel here. I'm tapping into your energy, and I think the biggest thing that's coming out is that you feel very alone right now. And I just want you to know I have a lot of cards flying out. More cards flying out of the deck on this reading than has happened in a long time. So I feel like it was meant to be that you got this reading and that you're connecting with me. And I'm hoping that I'll have what you're looking for and the messages you're looking to hear. These cards flew out. I've set them off to the side because I don't even feel like they were part of the main reading here. We're going to get into this. The first card that came out was the Sacred Space card, and that flew out for the last person I did a reading for too. And I think this card is coming out a lot today because I think as a collective, a lot of us are feeling very overwhelmed and we're kind of losing our touch with Source a little bit. And so you have to remember that it's very important at times to just try to find time to be alone, because I feel like there's a lot of people around you who are demanding your time and attention, and it's important to just find time alone. I actually see a vision of you in a bath surrounded by candles. So if you're able to take a bath and light some candles like in this picture and just have some me time, I think it would really help you right now to stay grounded, because there's a lot of emotions coming up. But this card is simple. It just says, create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. And everybody does this in their own way. I mean, some people believe in God, some people believe in Jesus or whatever, Buddha, Allah, whatever. Some people are atheist and just kind of believe in the void, and other people are just more like spiritual and they're into like the universe. Honestly, whatever your concept is about this, whether connecting with your deity or just connecting with yourself and your own inner wisdom, find a way to get back in touch. Meditation is obviously one of the best ways, or yoga, or just spending time in nature. But basically this card is about just being alone and finding time to slow down so that you can kind of process and be open to receive information. So that can be really hard in our society. There's so much coming at us all the time, all this media, all these cell phones, fast pace. And so it's important to take that conscious time to retreat and be still. And I think that's what's being called of you at this time. And this card is beautiful. It's one of the only cards in the deck that doesn't have like a really big message to it. It doesn't have any like action you're supposed to take. It's not trying to teach you any concept. This card comes out simply to let you know that you're safe. and that you're being watched over. And I've drawn this card before and cried, because it's basically like getting a big hug from the universe. It's like them saying that they can see you in your situation and there's someone watching over you. So it's a card that's basically saying there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it's very literal to this picture. It's a beautiful message that you don't have to fight or struggle on your path. It will be revealed to you, and, you know, follow the light. And what is the light? The light is your heart, you know? Follow your heart. Follow your innermost desires. Follow your bliss and what makes you happy. Follow your passion. That is what will lead you onto your path. For me, my passion was fashion. I absolutely love fashion, and I don't even know what I was doing half my life, to be completely honest. I just liked to dress up in clothes and hang out with people who liked fashion. I liked hanging out with models and dressing them and taking pictures. And over time, it turned into my career. And now that I've had this awakening and I'm learning more about spirituality, and I'm starting to kind of have more of a mission to want to help the earth, and I'm learning more about how fashion is destroying and polluting the earth, I have this new mission now of being able to help support and, you know, forward ethical fashion. And so, long story short, you know, your heart might be leading you to do something that you might feel is frivolous or ridiculous or silly, and you don't really see how it has a bigger purpose or how it's going to, you know, provide for you. But you know, you don't have to go cure cancer or go be like a doctor or something in order to help people. Usually what makes you happy and what helps you is what's going to help others, because if you're happy and you've come to peace, that is going to, that energy you carry is going to connect with all the people around you, and it's going to be a gift and a blessing to everyone who comes into contact with you. And it's going to awaken and open you in so many ways. So, wow, there's just a lot I'm channeling through these cards right now. There's a lot that wants to come out. I think that's why my cards were flying. So I'm trying to keep up. I realize I'm probably talking really fast right now. But yes, there is definitely a big message here for you to follow your heart and to take risks here, and also to surrender, because, you know, you want to know what comes next, and we're definitely going to get into that, and I'm going to reveal some things that are coming through for you, some things you might not be aware of, but ultimately you're being called to surrender. And this card says, and I'm wondering what will come to your mind when I read this card, so just pay attention to any thoughts or visions you have, or feelings or intuitions, because I feel like this is very personal to you, although it could have to do with the relationship you were talking about. This says, to be honest, if you keep fighting and worrying about it, the situation will get worse. Surrendering is when you let go and open to the infinite solutions available to you at all times. Stay expectant and practice patience. The answer will come, and overall it will be a humbling experience and a gentle reminder that there is nothing to fear and you are always provided for. So I feel like that was a huge message for you right now. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. The actual literal reading on this card is meant for you. You know, I feel like you're in a state of resistance right now, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's just times where we might not be aware that we're kind of fighting the current and we're fighting the flow. So surrendering is probably the next step for you, is why this flew out of the deck. You're entering into a time in your life where you know, the path may not be clear, and you're just going to have to take it one step at a time, following the light of your heart. So let's check into this reading and see how we can make that happen even more for you. So we're going to start off with your first question. Should you keep your hat in the ring with this guy? So should you continue on in this relationship? Like, is this, you know, supportive? Interesting cards. Okay, so this is the Nine of Swords in traditional tarot, and if you want to read more about this card, you can Google Nine of Swords Truly Teach Me Tarot. There's a website called trulyteachmetarot.com. I love it. It's very in-depth and thorough. So if you want to look into this card more, you can. But basically, it's about, you know, anguish and intense emotions and it even talks about your partner perhaps being in a time in their life where they're having a lot of breakdown. And it also talks, I feel like there's a message coming through that you're kind of going through your dark night of the soul. I don't know if you've ever heard of that concept, but in the awakening journey, which is basically like the journey of you coming into your authenticity and awakening to your higher purpose, basically. In that journey, there's a stage you go through called Dark Night of the Soul, and you get very, basically just a deep depression. And what it does is it just brings up a lot, and it helps you kind of flush stuff out so that you can clear space to move on towards your greatest good. Imagine it like the process the caterpillar goes through to become a butterfly. You know, it's like the cocoon stage. There's a lot of darkness, there's not a lot of movement, there's stillness, it's a lot of intense change. And I think that's kind of what you're going through right now, because I see this transformation card here, and then I don't think this is like a bad thing. The Nine of Swords, when you look it up, it might seem really intense, but I think it has been a bit of an intense time. And it says that you have a lot of respect for this person because you know where they've been. You guys have walked a very similar path in life, and so you understand what this person has been through, and there's a lot of mutual respect in this relationship, and so it does make you feel very secure. This person had to basically throw stuff together in order to make it to the stage they're at in life. They were like flying by the seat of their pants or something. There was just really, I guess what's coming through is that they were having a hard time holding down the job, or perhaps paying the bills for their home. There's something has to do with their home that's coming through with this person. Some type of home situation that was difficult that you understand very well. And it's like you guys helped each other through. This person is still kind of going through their dark night, and I think you are too. And so it's like that depression is what kind of like bonded you guys together. The fact that you guys both understood and accepted that side of each other, and like you guys accepted where each other's at in the journey. So basically, should you keep your hat in the ring with this guy? It's very hard to say, you know. When I first pulled this, I realized that it was kind of hard to say, and so what I decided to do was, this is one of my favorite things to do in readings, because it reveals information, but it also helps you make the choice, because that's what needs to happen here. I think this is coming out to say, like, you know, I could tell you yes or no, and if usually if I see someone is very abusive, the cards will tell me, and they'll be like, no, like this is not a safe person for you to be with, and like I've delivered that message to people, but I don't see that this person's like hurting you. I don't see like any of that coming through, but I do see that they have some mental illness, or that they have some like something they're trying to work through, which is intense, and it might be making you doubt the future of this relationship and like how this person's going to be able to really support you and be there in the long run. So I'm seeing, this depression with this person has really weighed heavy on your heart. I see that this is a person who has a difficult time sleeping. Perhaps they toss and turn, or they don't even barely sleep at all. And so it's like they seem very restless, and they can be slightly aggressive sometimes, but not like, not overtly, you know what I'm saying? So I don't see danger here, but I do feel what you're talking about. Like this, I see why you might be questioning, like, is this the path for me? Like, should I stick this out or not? Because, you know, it is a very intense time in this person's life, and it is triggering to you as well as you go through this transformation. So I asked, what does the path look like if you stay with this person and like continue on? And then I also asked, what does the path look like if you don't? So this is what the path looks like if you do. If you continue on with this person, it's saying that, you know, you're gonna have to kind of open up to a whole other level of love for yourself and for this person, because you can only really love people to the extent to which you love yourself. And that's what I realized. I I used to have a lot of conflict in my relationship, and I learned over time that a lot of the conflict I had, not all of it, was me mirroring back a lot of the shadow aspects of myself onto this person. So basically me like projecting my own darkness onto this person. And I had to realize over time that like I had to do some work on myself. I had to learn how to, fully understand myself, how to fully love myself. I had to figure out who I was and like do some self-work on my self-esteem and like coming into authenticity. And I'm still doing that. The more I continue down that path, the easier it is for me to have like more unconditional love for my partner. And so I feel like that's what's going to happen. If you stay in this relationship, it's going to open you up more and help you, kind of understand your own spirit of love. And I think it could help you melt some of the barriers you have between you and this person. This card is the deer card. And so I feel like this is your animal totem. You should look up the deer animal totem and see if it like speaks to you, and if it resonates with you. But this says, only when we move through life in the spirit of love for all beings can we melt the barriers that separate us from others and the beautiful mystery which is our own magical and spiritual gift. So they're saying not to be so hard on yourself. I think if you stay with this person, they're saying you need to maintain your innocence and gentleness. Your open heart is a gift you share with others. I have a feeling like there's a dynamic going on in this relationship that it could be you could be a bit triggering to this person because you are such an empath and you have such an open heart and you're so gentle that this person has all of this darkness coming up in them because of this flushing process and this healing that they're doing. And so I'm just like seeing this vision of when I first tap into your energy is how gentle you are and how innocent you are, how open your heart is. And that can be very intimidating for some people. And specifically, it can be very intimidating to some men. There's nothing wrong with it. Continue to be yourself. I think this card is trying to encourage you to continue being yourself, because it's like the dynamic of this relationship is causing a lot of change, like in a positive way for you and this person. So essentially, you are a catalyst for this person, and likewise, they are a catalyst for you. So they're saying that, you have to keep your heart open in this situation. If you're going to stay, you're going to have to be willing to keep your heart open and not to close down, because I feel like your heart is closed a little bit towards this person just because of the fear of this darkness that is inside of them. But once again, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with this person and with this darkness, because remember, we all carry this darkness inside of us. And part of the awakening process is just confronting that and owning it. And of course, you start to heal it, but no one's ever perfect, and at times it's going to come out. And so basically you're just trying to decide here if you can handle this side of this person, if you can handle this darkness in this person. Sometimes certain people just aren't good for you, and they might be better suited with a different situation, and you likewise. So I don't know if that's what's going on here, but I just feel like you're going to be very tested if you end up staying with this person, and I think you're starting to pick up on that. I feel like what's going to happen if you stay with this person, there is a potential for an ending and for a breakup here, and I think that's what you're feeling, but there's also a potential for a new beginning. And so I think if you choose to stay with this person, I'm not even sure if they know or are aware that you are considering, like, obviously it's not like you're considering leaving this person, but you're just kind of you're wondering, you're at this point where you're starting to think, like, is this still in alignment with me? Is this going to continue to be in alignment? Because it's like you want to be prepared. You want to know, like, okay, like, what should I start working towards? It's this huge time of transformation in your life, so everything is under review. Everything in your life is under review. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you do stay and you make that choice, then it's going to automatically start like a new cycle in your relationship. And there is a potential for new growth, because out of the mud grows the lotus. I don't think it's hopeless in this relationship. It just really has to do with where your heart is. I think that right now Your heart is with your creativity. I pulled this from you. If you stay in this relationship, you're going to have to learn how to juggle this relationship and also this side of you that wants to grow. And the side of you that wants to grow right now is, I mean, you ask the perfect questions. I mean, it's definitely related to your career. It's definitely related to this creative side of you. I tend to have a lot of artists requesting these readings, and I can always tell like who's an artist because of the certain cards that come out and like this, I don't know how to say it, there's just this certain energy. A lot of times empaths are going to be artists, and so if I tap into your energy and I can tell you're an empath and like you're a deer totem and stuff like that, then it's obvious to me that you're an artist, and that sensitivity you have is like a gift. So I think you're very sensitive. Something came up about hormonal issues when I started pulling the cards. I wasn't gonna say anything because I know that's kind of personal, but I'm throwing it out right now. You're very sensitive. There's some hormone things going on right now. I think that you're really being called to let this energy flow through you, like your creativity. It will help balance your hormones. It'll help you come to peace. And if you stay with this person, you're gonna have to learn how to juggle the stress of the relationship and also make sure you're making this time for yourself. So that's pretty much what's coming through. I hope that helps for like if you decide to stay, you know. I don't feel like the energy is saying if you stay it's going to be awful, but it is going to take a lot of work. You know, there's some work that's needed here. And I have a feeling like the other person will probably meet you in the middle, but you know, I am drawing the endings and beginnings card, you know, and this card also means that the old must be released so that the new can enter. It could be that you are being called to leave this relationship, you know, and I do see it being, you know, a bit difficult if you stay, but there is a way. It's, you know, you're just gonna have to be really open and continue to hold space for this person as they go through this depression. You know, and there is a way for it to work. There's still the chance it won't, but there is a way as long as you just continue towards your creativity seems to be the main thing in your life you should be focusing on. This card says, you're being gently nudged to start or finish that project. Write that song, make your masterpiece, and live your dream. So it's like, that's what's happening here. You know, you're feeling this nudge, and it could be that this person has to go in order to make space for that, but that's going to be the real test, is if you can continue on this new path and this person's supporting you, and you guys start this new cycle in the relationship, and like you go to the next level, you can open your heart more. But if this person's resisting that and not supportive of this part of you, that's going to be a big sign, you know, because you're about to go through some big changes. The question is, can the person handle that or not, you know? Now, what does the path look like if you don't keep your hat in the ring with this person? If you decide to kind of end it or walk away from this? If you don't, they're saying you're gonna have to trust. If you walk away from this person, it says you're gonna have to trust in your journey and where it's taken you so far. And you're gonna have to trust more in your natural skills, abilities, and talents. And you'll have to trust in those abilities to help you generate abundance. And they're saying, trust in your future self to make the best decisions possible to secure what it is you wish for. That's a big concept there, trusting in your future self. It's actually something my partner and I talk about all the time. Sometimes when I have anxiety, because sometimes I do. And that's what these cards are all about. They help me sort my mind out when I'm having anxiety. Sometimes when I'm having that anxiety, you know, he's told me, and it's just been the sweetest thing to remind me to trust in my future self, because you learn more and more as you go through life every day. And I know so much more now than I did a couple years ago. And I know in a few years, I'll know even more. So the point is, continue to take this step by step and day by day, and trust in your future self to make the best decision. Because obviously you're not making this decision right now. I have the feeling like you're going to spend a little bit more time thinking about this and meditating on it. But trust yourself, trust your inner self. In your heart, you know what you want. You know what your heart is screaming for, and that's how you're going to be able to make this choice. You know, look at these cards and meditate on them a little bit if you can. You know, pause it over them and just, you can even take your hand and hold your hand over each stack and see if your hand will tingle when you raise it. You know, you can even make your decision based off of your feelings. I think that's what they're saying. How do you feel? What do you really feel about this? It can be hard to judge your feelings though when you're dealing with the hormones, when you're sensitive. You need to balance a little bit more to be able to make this decision. But spend time meditating on it. See if your fingers tingle when you go over either stack and see where your heart is. If you leave this person, you're going to have a lot of faith and trust. You will be taken care of. You know, when you follow your heart and you know you're following your inner guidance, there is a path forward. There is a light. And that's what this card, you know, shot out of the deck to tell you. Basically, if you leave this relationship, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be really intense. But you'll see this blood on this guy's spear, it's going to be intense. But ultimately, you're going to come out very wise and very strong. This card's called the Woodward. It talks about someone who's just very experienced with the wildwood. And in this deck, the wildwood is like a metaphor for like life and all of the trials and tribulations and all the things that we go through on our journey of basically just evolving on this earth. And this character, this archetype is all about expertise and just having the knowledge to continue the path. And so if you leave this relationship, you will definitely be a lot stronger. It's going to be hard at first, but you will be much, much stronger. And this talks about an opportunity. So there will be opportunities that come your way. You'll be making space for opportunities. And this is the Lynx. The Lynx is the secret keeper. So I feel like there's only a little bit coming out of this card because you're not supposed to know 100% exactly what this opportunity is, exactly what's going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be like, okay, so you're going to leave this guy, and then like 3 weeks later you're going to go here, and then this is going to happen, and this, you know, like, I wish that I could tell you that, but that's not usually how psychics work. You know, we can sometimes tell the future a little bit, but most of the time we're just tapping into your energy at present. And like what I'm feeling here is that presently, you know, you are a bit afraid to leave this relationship. But I feel like this is coming out to tell you that if you did leave this relationship, you would be taken care of and you would actually be a lot stronger for it. So you would also have to have a lot of boundaries with this person, because I feel like this is the type of person that might be shocked and might be a bit overwhelmed if you tried to leave them. And so you'd have to be prepared to have boundaries, because they would try to come back in your life and they would try to mess with you a little bit. I don't think it would be like a horrible thing. I just think that it would be hard for them. Maybe you guys have been in a relationship for a long time. Maybe you share a lot of history. I'm not really sure. This connection you have is really deep with this person. And so you would have to be willing to have really strong boundaries and perhaps even go no contact, depending on the situation and what's involved, in order to be able to have this, to gather your strength again. So that's just kind of a little peek into what that would look like if that happened. So I hope that will help you make a decision. That's all that's coming through. But I do see overall that this person, you know, like I said, they're having a bit of a dark night, and I don't know if it's rubbing off on you, or perhaps you guys are just mirroring each other here, because usually soulmates, people in the same soul family, are going to mirror each other a bit. But you know, it does seem to be quite overwhelming for you. If you're going to stay, you're really going to have to pull up your inner strength and try to put more of your focus on yourself and like what you're trying to develop with your gifts and your purpose, because that's what really wants to come through. I find it so interesting that like career stuff is coming out in the middle of like your relationship part of the reading, because I asked many questions about your career and your path. So it seems to me like this is very connected, and I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but this is very, very connected. So let's continue the rest of the reading. How can you thrive the next few years? So wow, look, remember how I said there's some type of opportunity maybe? I am feeling this vibe here. So there is an opportunity that's coming your way. They're saying important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. So these next 2 years are a huge opportunity for you. I see the completion of some type of cycle, or some type of project. I feel like there's going to be something you start that's going to be very abundant. It's going to draw a lot of abundance into you. I think this is something that's going to take many moon cycles. These herons here are saying that the way that you're going to complete this project or this process is going to be one step at a time. So it's very much going to be little by little, because I feel like you're the kind of person who might not have a lot of time, but it's not really about time. It's more about momentum. I'm going to talk about my fashion career again, because I don't know, I'm only in my 20s, so I don't really have that many examples yet, at least from this life. But this is such a huge thing for me. It's just something that trips me out. I think it really is the best example. I started my fashion career when I was actually in school, like in high school. It just started with me printing pictures off the internet and making collages and going to the thrift store and dressing up and taking pictures of myself and putting them on the internet. And then, I got older, I got a job, I had to support myself, put a roof over my head and whatnot. And I didn't have very much time. I worked so hard and my job was so physically demanding that when I came home, all I wanted to do was just lay in bed. And that's pretty much was my life for years, was just working and working and then sleeping. But while I was in bed, I was able to go on my laptop and write a little bit and kind of start and blog and start connecting with creatives. And over time, I ended up getting some opportunities, and I took them and started developing my fashion portfolio, started shooting with all these people, and more people started seeing my work, and ultimately it led to me starting to get jobs and starting to make income, and now this is what I'm doing. And really, I honestly just started with 5 minutes a day. It was very simple. Sometimes I would just write a paragraph and post it, and sometimes I would just pin some photos on Pinterest and make an inspiration board, and the next day I would email someone and ask them, hey, you want to look at this mood board and try a project with me? And then the next day I would make a list of the materials I wanted to get, and then the next day I would go buy them, and so on and so forth, just a little bit every day. And years of that has led to my career. So a lot of times we see these images of these people on TV and online, and people in real life who are just hustling super hard, busting their butts, and they've got all this time, it seems like, and they have all this, it seems like they have all this money and they have all this funding, and it's oh, well, they, went to this place and grew up here, and so they're privileged and they get this. It's easy basically to look at other people and to judge them and to judge their life and think well, I can't do that because I don't have time, or I don't have money, or I don't have the experience or the right friends or the right support of people. I feel like there's a lot of excuses coming up around you about how to move forward with this project and your goals, your dream. But really, a little bit of time a day, because everything's energy, and all you have to do is just get the momentum going. You take one step, and then the universe will meet you and help you take that other step. Have you ever heard that? You take one step, and the next comes to you. It's pretty much how it works. I took a step forward, and then I got an opportunity. I took another step, and more of the path was revealed. The path reveals itself as you go. So the only way to really start this path is just to start 5 minutes a day and make that commitment. And don't beat yourself up if you take 2 weeks off, and you just trust yourself. Every day might not be the best day to focus on this, but if you can just commit a little bit of your energy, it's going to grow momentum, and that's going to grow exponentially, and you'll end up attracting into your life opportunities and money and abundance and all the right help and support that you need. That's why trust and faith is needed. I know I drew this for a different situation, but I draw this card a lot for people in their careers too, this trust card. It's just so important, I also see too that in order for you to thrive the next couple years, you need to confront this. And I always feel so bad when I pull this for people, but it's not a bad card at all. It just means there's some stuff you need to mourn. There's some stuff that's gone down in your life that you might not have ever given yourself the time to express and to let out. It could be the ending of this relationship you end up mourning. I'm not sure, depending on whatever choice you have, but I think that the best way for you to be able to channel this is into some type of art. I see, like, once again, I said there's art coming up, and I think you're going to be pulled into some type of creative career. And so there is definitely some mourning you need to do and let go of, and childhood is coming up. Maybe some issues with your mom. And so some people are like, okay, so how do I do this? Okay, this whole mourning thing, this whole healing thing. Well, if something comes up to your mind and you feel like crying, then cry. Because like I said, you're kind of in the middle of this dark night, and so is this person you're with. So you're going to get triggered sometimes, and it's important to let yourself cry and to let yourself have that release. And writing is also coming up for you, because I was looking at this pen and I just saw like this aura around it, and so I'm like, oh, is this part of the reading? I'm seeing that, yeah, there's some try writing about your past and some things that have happened, and try to release that. And on Instagram and online and even on YouTube, there are so many support groups. If you happen to be a victim of abuse or anything that's happened, really, if you just Google it, you're going to find people out there you can connect with, or at least read their stories in order to help you heal and to mourn. So I personally have been through some tragedies in my life, and I've been able to connect with people online and to connect with support groups, and you have no idea how much that helps on those days where you feel alone and you feel like no one understands. So I just feel like I'm tapping into your inner child right now. Excuse me. And I feel like you're having this block with your throat chakra, this block with like expressing yourself. And I feel like once that's unblocked, it's going to be much easier for you to flow into your purpose. And I think that's why it's coming up in this career reading for you, and like how you can thrive in the next couple of years, is to actually just like express this and like let this flow and let it come out, and like to embrace this grieving process, and to just allow it to happen. Because funny enough, it's actually going to open you up and lead you towards a lot of abundance in your life. Because guess what? A lot of times the grieving process is kind of taking place in your root chakra, because your root chakra is connected to like your safety and like your security, and you can just research the root chakra. But when you mourn and when you release, it actually clears your root chakra out, and so it helps you manifest more money. It helps you manifest more opportunities. So that's why it's important not to avoid and push things down, and not to push away the grieving process. A lot of people like to cover it up with addictions and with food and sex and drugs and whatever shopaholic stuff. And I'm only throwing out things I used to do in the past to try to run away from my own inner darkness and my own struggles and my own mourning and grieving processes. But when you just turn to it and you just allow it to happen, it doesn't take as long. It's not as painful as you would think. What's more painful is just like avoiding it and stuffing your emotions down and not giving yourself that time. I feel like you just need to give yourself that time right now. And I think you are. I really think you are. I think you're really opening up to that. And this healing, it could be intense at first, and I think that's what's happening here with your dark night, like I'm tapping into. But ultimately, it's leading to a huge opportunity for you. Happiness, playfulness, abundance, the completion of some type of project or product. Like there's some type of product. Interesting. So what is your next work? What, you know what? These are the cards that I pulled for that question. Like, what are you going to be doing for your work next? And like your spiritual gifts and stuff. But they're actually not giving me a lot of information here, and I'll just be honest with you. They're saying that the situation with your job is going to be handled in a fair and just manner. There's some type of destiny that you're flowing into. And I think I think you're starting to feel like there's something bigger and greater happening in your life. And it's true. There's something happening here. This talks about balance. I think you've given a lot to other people. When you're a deer, you're just so gentle, and people are just going to flock to you for advice, for support, for a hug. And I think you've just been there. And this is talking about, I think, a daughter. I don't know if I remember you reading about you having a daughter or not, because I've read so many emails today. But something about a daughter, like you really supported your daughter, and you know, everything has karma. You know, you're gonna have some karma for that. And so there's something trying to flow into your life that's really good for you. And they're saying that you're gonna have to be patient, because there is an opportunity coming, and that's what the heron is all about. These birds, I don't know if you've ever seen them fish before, but I have. They're so beautiful. I work in LA, and so there's this park I like to go to called Echo Park, and they have beautiful, beautiful herons there all the time, and I love to sit and watch them fish, because they'll just stand like this, and they'll stand for so long that the fish swimming around them will think that they're like part of the plants, and as soon as the fish get comfortable and come close enough, the heron goes pop and grabs the fish. So I feel like that's what you're going to have to do in this situation with your job. An opportunity is going to present itself, and that's what this is talking about. It will be in the next couple years, and it will probably be in the middle of or after you start this grieving process. And they're saying to just be patient and have hope, and you know, the dove is all about hope, because this will be fair for you. The situation is really going to balance your life, and it's going to be fair, because I feel like you think it's you think it's unfair how hard you have to work, and how much time you're having to devote and spend away from your child and from yourself, basically, because I feel like the line of work you're in isn't really authentic to you and who you are, and so you're craving that freedom and that authenticity. I mean, who isn't? And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to fight, and you don't have to struggle in order to make money in abundance, and you don't have to sell your soul to man, basically. You know, I really believe that you can, you know, continue working where you're at part-time, you know, full-time or whatever you're doing, and then on the side, part-time, be able to start your love-based or your spiritually based or your heart-based practice job. And once again, this job that you start, I feel like that story I told you about my fashion is coming out a lot, because you want to do something really creative. There's something that you've loved to do your entire life, and you know, something about music is coming up. But when I first started pulling the cards, I saw an Etsy shop in my head. I was like, whoa, what's going on with this whole Etsy thing? I feel like there's some type of craft or some type of product, or you're supposed to be offering and making. And I pull this a lot for artisans, people who make clothes, people who make crafts. And I had one girl whom she likes to create stationery and draw, and I pulled this for her. So it's making me wonder that there's something going on with that for you. So there's ideas that are going to be coming to you, and you're going to have to think quickly and be able to, you'll know when the time is to basically go pop and grab that fish. How can you prepare? So how can you prepare for this opportunity and for this career change? Oh my gosh. It's saying exactly what this is saying. You're gonna have to go through this healing process to get there. Right now, there's a lot of inner struggle. You're feeling, like I said, it's very unfair. Like your money situation is unfair. I see this feather here in this money. It's like you want this and you've got this, you know? And there's been a lot of injustice in your life. And when you look at the world, you know, it's easy for you to see all of the chaos and all of the fear and all the lack. And hey, I don't blame you, because you just turn on the news and what do you see? You just go on the internet and what do you see? You just go to work and, you know, what is everyone talking about? Everyone's complaining, everyone's stuck in this lack mentality. And what's being called of you is to have a higher vision for yourself and for your life, and is to pull yourself out of that way of thinking and into, well, a more positive mind frame. Look, I don't wake up like this every day. A lot of these messages I'm giving everybody, I'll sometimes listen to them over again, because I'll realize that it's a message for me too. I have to remind myself every day to trust and to have faith and to have boundaries with people. you know, that I'm always safe and protected. And, you know, that's what these cards are about for me. They remind me of the truth, because it's so easy to lose touch of the truth. Because everyone out there has their own viewpoint. Everyone out there has got their own things they believe in. And as an empath and as someone sensitive, it can be really confusing to know like where you end and where other people begin. It's easy to absorb other people's emotions. That's why I have to be careful and like not watch the news too much, and like be careful who I surround myself with, because of course I want to stay informed, and of course I want to connect with people, but I can just be so sensitive that the wrong information, the wrong people is going to get in my head and is going to drag me down. And I think that's what's happening here. You're becoming more and more sensitive, and it's because you have this gift inside you that wants to flourish. You have this new career path that's coming. You have this new truth that you're coming into alignment with, but it's going to take some healing for you to get there. And healing is just very personal for each person. For some people, healing is literally just like isolating yourself from people and doing a bunch of meditation and like seeing your doctors and like trying a vegan diet and whatnot. You know, doing yoga. It can be very traditional, very spiritual. For other people, healing is, you know, moving to a new environment and immersing yourself in a different type of life. For some people, it's cleaning out, you know, old people and habits and situations and things that no longer serve you. You could be called to let go of some things in your life. But ultimately, healing is all about getting, healing is more about revealing. It's revealing your inner truth. It's clearing out all the muck and all the lies that you've been telling yourself all these years. You know, it's about becoming aware of the voice in your head and your inner dialogue and what it's really telling you. You know, is your inner dialogue helping you and supporting you, or is it hypercritical and is it bullying you? So I feel like, you know, start thinking about that. Start looking into affirmations, and I think this is something that's going to be very natural. Obviously, I've been doing my own healing process, and so I can shed light on that a little bit and give you some pointers, but once again, the path is going to reveal itself. So I don't think you need to worry here exactly about like what you need to do. You could literally need to drink more water. You could honestly, this could also be a card saying you just need to drink more water too. So those are some things that are coming up. That's some heavy stuff, I guess, but you know, it's always the darkest before the dawn, and a lot of times life is going to call you to really do some big healing and inner work before you can move on to the next phase of your life. Now, that's how you can prepare. And pretty much you're already being prepared because you're already going through this healing and transformation process, so this is on the way. Your natural gifts and talents. You're very, look at, I got the deer totem for you again. Okay, so you have this open heart, you're sensitive, you have clairsentience, so look that up, that's a spiritual gift. You are able to feel the emotions of other people. You can probably also feel the emotions of animals, and you can probably feel the emotions of plants too. You know, you can feel the energy in everything. Everything affects you, you know, if you go, you get onto a crowded, like get onto a bus or something that's super crowded, public transportation might be overwhelming for you. You might, if there's someone, you know, walking down the street acting kind of crazy and like intense, and their energy might really affect you. You might get a shiver down your spine. You might feel a lot of flip-flops in your stomach, or anxiety is something that's coming up. Those are some things that can happen when you're clairsentient, and they're just saying to be patient with yourself, because this part of yourself is really blossoming right now, and it's a very positive thing, because once again, you've been given this gift of sensitivity to help you with your art, your artwork, and with your life mission and soul purpose. And ultimately, the way that you decide to use this gift is up to you. Whatever makes your heart sing, wherever your passion is, that's how you are to express this gift. I love to talk. I have the gift of gab, and I love these tarot cards. I love reading. I love symbolism and metaphors. I love, you know, so that's why I'm choosing to express my gifts through tarot and through reading and speaking as one of my ways, but you might use your gift through drawing or writing or, working with children or just being a good parent or just, having an open heart and being loving to anyone that is sent to you on your path. You don't necessarily have to cure cancer here. It's just, follow your heart. You can do this any way you want. And that's the beautiful thing about your gifts is that you have free will and you can use them however you want. And when I found that out, it made me happy because I was scared when I realized the gifts I had and how psychic I am, because I have a lot of the gifts. I have clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, and it was overwhelming for me to think how am I supposed to do this? But it was very natural for me to flow into tarot, and it just kind of happened. And I think that's, what's for you is for you, and you're naturally going to flow into this new path of work. For some people, I'm able to literally tell them you're supposed to write, or you're supposed to dance, or you're supposed to be working with kids, but nothing's coming up for you in specific. I've already thrown a couple things out if any of that resonated, but I feel like the reason it's not coming out for you is because it's a very personal thing, and this is kind of a lesson for you. You're being really guided to follow your heart here, and that this card flew out of the deck before I barely even started shuffling, and that's what this means is follow your heart. The next step is about yourself, your inner truth, your path. So now I have positive energy that's coming into your life. Look at this. So they're saying that they know that this is something you want. You want that Harlequin romance. You want to be swept off your feet. You want this undying love, you want this great romance. You've had this vision of your life. And I do believe that your twin flame is out there, or your soulmate, or whatever your school of thought is. There is a person out there for you. I can't say if it's this person or not. You could even check back in a couple months and we can try this reading again, or try to pull this energy again. Because we are coming off the tail end of Mercury retrograde. Sometimes the messages get clear after, but it could be that there is someone new coming into your life, or this new cycle could start that will bring you this true love in this relationship. So they're saying that to stay dedicated to your path. This is a message coming through that's saying they know that you've been trying every which way to make this work in your relationship, and all you want is just a supportive, nurturing relationship. You don't feel like you can move forward in life. You don't really feel like you can express your gifts until this, until this person, you have this fulfilled, you know what I'm saying? But you're being called, regardless of your situation, whether your romance is rocky or not, to continue your creativity and towards your sensitivity and towards your art. They're saying that there's actually a time of celebration coming into your life. You've had this awakening, your heart is on fire, there's this light. There's a whole lot of symbolism in this reading about this light and about your heart and about, I hope that doesn't sound cliche, follow your heart, but for real though, oh my gosh, for real, I totally understand what that means now. And this has been about 2 years for me of solidly following my heart, and look where I am right now. I'm in my own art studio. It's kind of messy, but I manifested this. I'm here chilling in this room doing this reading, and I don't have to go into a job. I freelance for my other job, and this is just really beautiful, and I see a similar time in your life where you're going to be able to manifest your dream place. And you're going to be able to have this celebration, and I do see a community of women around you. So it makes me think that whatever product you develop or whatever heart-based practice that you start is going to connect you with this community of people. So they're saying don't back down, really start to dream and visualize this next phase of your life, because it might just surprise you. Your thoughts create your reality. And you're shaping, and of course your intentions and your actions do as well, but everything starts in your dreams. Everything starts with a vision. And so I think you're being called to really start visualizing what you want. And I think this is something you've had a vision of. You want this group of women around you because you want true friendship. You want true love. You want true friendship. Who doesn't, you know? And now that you've had this awakening, your vibe attracts your tribe. So as you go through this transformation, as you wake up more and more, what's going to happen is you're going to start attracting more people who really resonate with you, really are on your same vibe into your circle. So this is all going to be very natural. And I would love to hear back from you, honestly, in like 6 months or a year to hear about if all of this ends up happening. I'd love to hear back. I love having that kind of feedback. It's really cool. Especially about this group of women. I want to know who these people are once you connect with them. Now, this is the last thing for you. And it says advice from spirit. And I'm like, why did I draw this card? I don't want to leave you with this message, but it's not like it's a bad thing. They're just trying to say, heads up, there's a frenemy in your life. There is somebody around you, and I'm having a feeling like it could be your boss, or it could be someone in your work. I'm not sure, it's weird. It's like, I'm not gonna say it's someone super close to you, but they're trying to awaken you to this concept, and so I'm just gonna read you this card. And I have a feeling it's gonna make you laugh, because I think you might know who this is. This says, sometimes people come into your life as an answer to your prayers and as a blessing. And sometimes they come to teach us important lessons about our personal boundaries and self-respect. Do you have a repeated pattern of being effed over by friends and lovers? Did your birth parents caregivers F you over? Perhaps this is where you learned it was okay to accept to be treated less than you deserve. It is time to choose yourself first. Delete, block, no contact, move on. You will have to learn how to protect this light and love that you carry. There will be those who mooch off of it and take advantage of you if you let them. Make room for like-minded people who will treat you how you treat others. So it's kind of an omen, like you're being called to let go of some people and some situations in your life, and likewise you will attract these people who are going to be treating you the way that you treat people, because the thing is, you are able to see straight through people with this gift of clairsentience and being able to feel people's emotions. You're able to really see through people and into their heart. And everyone has a light in their heart, even the most evil person. And so you're able to overlook the shadow side of people and see into their heart, which is beautiful. But it can also backfire when you just completely overlook the way people are treating you. Because you have to remember, ultimately, actions speak louder than words. And I feel like you can fall victim to sweet talking a little bit too much, and people are able to kind of push you around because you're an empath. And so, you're being called to develop some more boundaries and to really start reviewing. Your whole life is under review right now, and you're being asked to review the people that are around you, because you're not able to really succeed in life if the soil that you're planted in is toxic. You can't grow in that environment. So the people that you surround yourself with are the most important thing. Everyone's going to be human at the end of the day. People are going to sometimes say things that are a little mean and not mean, on accident, and people are going to, make mistakes, and, sometimes they'll be very upset and stuff happens, but ultimately, if you're surrounding yourself with people who are constantly tearing you down and constantly naysaying, being devil's advocate, not supporting you, it's not good, You want to be around those people who are uplifting you, who say, yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, I think you could do it. Or, wow, that's really great you got that promotion. Not people who just get quiet, and people who just get jealous, or people who just keep changing the conversation back to themselves. There needs to be a balance here. And they're saying it's time for you to choose yourself. That's what's happening here. It's time for you to, this time in your life is all about you. I mean, you're feeling that because your daughter only has, I think you mentioned, only has a couple more years left in school, and she's going to be going out in the world, and this is a huge shift in your life. But overall, I'm really happy and excited for you. It's going to be tough. I can't lie to you. What I'm feeling here is a lot of shift, but it's really beautiful. You have to know that the most chaos happens right before your dreams come true, and your dreams are just about to come true. I can feel it. Look, you got this golden opportunity card. You've got this fairness card. This card, when I pull this, I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because it's just like a fresh drink of water or something. It's so relaxing and refreshing to know that there is a balance and there is a harmony to this world. Continue to hold your light. Continue to hold your light. Continue to choose love, and continue to, trust yourself and to try to find your authenticity. I think what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to try new things. You might want to join some classes, try to hit up the gym, start connecting with people, check out that, what's it called? There's like an app on your phone, and it's called Meetup or something, and see, join clubs and groups. I think you're being called to really get out and connect and explore your life. Because if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So you're gonna have to think differently. If you're gonna wanna head to this next place in your life, you're gonna have to do differently. So, wow, this is a time of renewal for you. A huge time of rebirth. I'm surprised I didn't pull the rebirth card. I'm just really surprised. But overall, you're gonna be fulfilled. Overall, you're going to be fulfilled. And you are having an awakening right now. You're having an awakening. Your life is just going to transform. That's what happens. I had an awakening, and now my life is completely transformed. I'm here doing tarot readings in this art studio I never thought I would have, and especially so soon. So you might be surprised where you end up in the next couple years. This is some huge completion that's coming through. I think you're going to be able to get a lot done. So don't underestimate yourself. Really start to have a higher vision. I can't stop talking to you. I'm like, why can't I stop this video? It's because I feel very passionate about you and your situation. I'm tapped into your energy, and I'm just feeling like this is a very pivotal time in your life. You're not going to miss out on anything. Don't worry. It's not like, if you don't do this, then this isn't gonna happen. It's not one of those things. What is for you, and you're gonna flow into this naturally, but it's time to take risks. It's time to take risks, and you're being called to start some kind of business. So I hope this helps. I hope that you know what I'm talking about. And I hope that you enjoy this reading. Hang in there. You're not gonna have to worry for too long. Once you make it past this healing, you're gonna feel a lot stronger and a lot more confident in yourself. So I hope that this helps spread light on your situation, and I'm sending you so much love and light with this. And if anyone else watched this reading, I hope that it resonated with you too. And if so, definitely leave a comment and subscribe. And check out the description below for information on my readings if you would like one as well. Peace out.